The Exodus developers answered my question in the final Q&A session, and they've given us a lot to get excited about. Over the past month, the developers at Archetype have been putting out short Q&A video responses on Twitter, or X as you probably call it now. In order to ask a question, you had to join their mailing list, which grants you the title of founder, and you get some in-game rewards when it releases. I put all the Q&A videos together, which I'll play for you in just a moment. My question was the player character to be voiced? I'm going to get into why I asked that question in the next video because I feel it deserves a more detailed explanation and the Q&A session's already quite long. So here's a lot more detail about Exodus, and in the comments, let me know which question they answered has got you the most excited for the game.
Well, yes, of course. That's the core of the game. So the ending is something that we're putting a lot of work into, and it's pretty awesome. Time dilation and how it impacts the choices you make in the game is the core of the game. It's what Exodus is all about. So yes, it's you're going to be able to make momentous decisions, and you're going to be able to see the results of those decisions over the course of years, decades, and even centuries.
You can learn more about Exodus by going to our website, exodusgame.com. There's tons of great information there, and including some lore that we've taken a lot of time to curate and get ready for you, so you can learn more about the depth of the story, the depth of the background of the universe, and hopefully be excited about being on this journey with us. I think the idea with time dilation and the opportunity to bring that to players in a way where the consequences of their choices are going to be so magnified is kind of overwhelming in an exciting way for us as game makers. Ultimately, that plus the freedom to really build a game in the way that we view to make a great player experience has always been something we've wanted to do. And doing it together and with this amazing studio that we've got has been a great opportunity and kind of a lifelong dream.
So I've been interested in time dilation since I was a kid and read about it because it's pretty crazy, the concept of time dilation, I mean. And another thing is just having the freedom to build the games that you want to build. That's awesome. That's what everyone wants when they get into the games industry.
Yeah, companions are a huge part of the experience in Exodus. We're super excited by the palette that we're bringing to bear for all players. And we've got an exciting plan to unveil those over the coming months, and we think fans will be excited by them. But yeah, answer's absolutely yes.
The game is definitely not linear. That's not the style of game that we've ever been interested in making. It's a game where you make choices. Not only will your choices impact the fate of your people and world, but also you're going to have the freedom to explore this new universe the way you want to explore it. That's always a very important factor in a role-playing game. So definitely not linear. So you're going to be able to do all kinds of different role-playing. This is a game about your relationship not only with your companions, but the people of your world. And so you're going to be able to role-play with your companions in all sorts of different ways. And you're also going to be role-playing with the important leaders of your world. You're going to see and hear about the impacts of your decisions through, well, we do have a famous person who was announced with the game. And hey, Chad, how do you refer to that again with Matthew's character?
He's going to play somewhat of a mentorship role to you and kind of giving you insight into the choices you've made, and then ultimately probably influence the decisions you make going ahead in the rest of the game, because you're going to have insight from him that you wouldn't otherwise have.
Well, I wouldn't really call it a war between the Celestials and humans because, well, the humans would lose that war instantaneously. The humans are the underdogs in the cluster, and the Celestials possess technological prowess that far exceeds anything that any human civilization could match. It's really a situation where humans are at the very bottom of the food chain in this galaxy. There's there's different mediums. Interstellar obviously was a movie that was very inspirational. From Dune as a book and a movie was very inspirational. We've also drawn from the IPs that we've worked on in the past, and we've worked on quite a few IPs. So as a fan, yeah, science fiction, I love it, and obviously my number one is going to be Star Wars. Number two is Frank Herbert's Dune, and number three, I can't say because, well, it would spoil some of the things we're going to talk about in January. Oh yeah, we've taken the development of this science fiction universe very seriously, and yeah, the science behind any of the features within the universe is something we've definitely thought about. But more importantly, we've been working with some of the best science fiction authors in the world, some of the best directors and concept artists, and we're going to talk more about that in January, actually, who those people are. It is the Omega Centauri, which is classified as a globular cluster, but is also called a galaxy. It's an ancient and very unusual kind of galaxy. You can read up on it. It's very cool, and we picked it for a reason. And I think it will allow us to tell lots of cool stories for years or decades, hopefully.
There's so many. I mean, we're active gamers ourselves, so a lot of stuff that we've played over the last bunch of years. I think I'd start at the basis of the kind of games we've made before in our careers, gives us that foundation. You know, RPGs with choice and consequence, where choices really matter, is probably one of the biggest driving parts of it. But then inspiration in terms of current stuff, everything from the Horizon Zero Dawn series to Tomb Raiders, up to even things like from Naughty Dog like Last of Us. Like the quality bar that each of those brings to their different facets of the game are things we look at and hope we can bring into the experience that players will love with Exodus. We're just fans of them. They're awesome. They're rockers that make great music. Ultimately, we also felt like their fandom for science fiction and for games, because they're gamers themselves, really maps well with what we're trying to do with Exodus. And ultimately, I don't know, it fits what we're doing really nicely. Like if you watch that trailer, the tempo of it, the drive of it all just really maps in really nicely, and we're excited about having them as partners in our first journey with the first trailer that you saw. Balance is the key word there for us. Like we've always felt like a great narrative will drive and carry the player experience overall, so that the minute-to-minute supports it, makes the player feel like they're part of it and an active participant in what's going on in their player experience. Yeah, in the game, the protagonist is voiced. We want players to feel that identity and connection to the player, and voice is a key part of that to make it feel immersive. We're super excited to have sci-fi fans join us on this journey. It's something we're passionate about, and ultimately I think a lot of the things that motivate us to make a great experience for players is driven by the universe that we've created here, and we're hoping that you enjoy it too.
We are also huge sci-fi fans, and we want to make a game for you that you're going to love, and that hopefully you remember decades from now. And it's a game where we really are focusing on choice and consequences, and that will be evident when you get to the end of the game, which I hope you and your friends are talking about years and years from now.
The reason we're sitting here talking is because we're passionate about what we're doing, but we also really value, I mean, we worked on some games that we're really proud to have been part of in our careers, but one of the biggest lessons we learned was building a community actually helps us in so many ways. It helps motivate us, but it also helps give us feedback on the things that we're doing that ideally will make the game that much better. So spending this time now to help get you introduced to our universe is really important to us. We're not doing this just to, you know, attract people to what we're doing. It's about building a community now that's with us for the long haul, to stay with us for the long haul. We would love this game to be something that we're still talking about 10 years from now as players and as developers for it, and that you're enjoying just as much 10 years from now or more than even today.